Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to ZSR2 and welcome to the Skyward Sword Randomizer Season 3 Tournament Winner Bracket Finals, Game 2, 3, 7, 12, something like that, between Jasnix and Gymnast86. Pre-game chat in the commentary booth were absolutely fantastic. I hope the commentary itself is going to be fantastic, and through it will you be taken by King's Pride and Pippi in the top hat, and Luta, Chiamaka, and Featherblade are gonna be tracking my words. Have fun.
Thank you so much for the intro. Welcome, y'all. As stated, this is a game number. I believe it's technically 2, but it's actually 3.
Asterisk.
It's 2 asterisk, 2.5, something like that. If anybody missed yesterday's races, Jasnix had a little bit of a capture card error for about 30 minutes into one of the seeds, so they are playing 2 more games today, possibly, unless Jasnix wins this one, in which case Jim will be moving down to loser's bracket, and Jasnix will be going straight on to grands. But this is game 2. Jasnix is up 1 game, I think. Am I accurate in all of that, Pride?
I believe so. The problem is that we've started labeling these games like they're Kingdom Hearts games, and that's when things get a little ridiculous.
I'm so excited for our next match, which will not be game 3, actually. It'll be Birth by Sleep. So... I know very little about Kingdom Hearts, but I know that one.
0.2 Final Remix is my favorite match.
Ah, yes. Alright, it looks like we are starting very shortly here. Pride, are you excited?
I'm excited. I'm looking forward to this. We have 2 great racers. We have a great race lined up. I feel like Jim's probably going to check hints pretty quickly. Very interesting start. There's not a lot you can do from here.
Okay, we know our required dungeons we'll be able to check. Oh, that seemed to be first 3. That's interesting. What are our hints? No village, no mine, no summit. Okay. We have a beetle. Jim checked his beetle. Everything is okay. Jim has a beetle and knows about it. He even marked it on his tracker. Good job, Gymnast. If you missed yesterday's match 1, that was not match 1, it was round 1, it was round 0. Jim did not notice that he had a starting beetle for 55 minutes.
All right, let's see what our starting statue is in Elden here. Much more workable. Okay.
Okay, so Elden only has 4 valid starting statues, but it has extra entrances that you can start at for your starting entrance of the seed. And because we start with the tablet of our starting area, that's why our runners can go back immediately in there to get a different statue. And the statue that we got is actually only useful if we would have had Fire Sanctuary as one of our dungeons. And yeah, no, we do not. As I mentioned, our dungeons are our first 3 dungeons, which is going to be Skyview, Earth Temple, and Lanemer Mining Facility. So that starting entrance is more or less useless.
We have an early routing disparity here, however, so Jim elected to go straight back into Elden, whereas it looks like Jazz is checking out the sky first, so Jazz is going to get a good amount of early game hints to guide him. Jim, however, is going to get Spiral Charge, which will help him when he goes back into Sky.
I think that was a Sky ping on Jasnix's side as well, so that's kind of a nice, tiny benefit for Jim, that he can go to the Sky and do whatever Spiral Charge rocks are pinging at the same time. These settings are kind of interesting because in the Sky we have 3 Gossip Stones that have some of our early game information. Those are our hints other than our barons that are available from the start. And I feel like in these settings often, like, literally in no other settings would I ever make the play that Jim is, where I just ignore hints at the beginning. So it feels so wrong to me. But like in these settings, yeah, no, sometimes you just can get away with ignoring your hints for a decent amount of time if you do have early game checks.
Absolutely. Also, yes, shoutouts in the chat. Jasnix's bird is very pretty. I was going to mention that. He's a really nice looking bird.
Admire the bird. Oh, that's the whip? The whip on Jim's side? Getting some interesting early items in Eldin. Eldin is also one of the nicest places to start. Jasnix also immediately doing backwards waterfall cave.
Let's go. It's the optimal solution, except for when it isn't.
Exactly. That looks like 2 lower pings in Boko base. Very interesting.
Near's wisdom. Now, tell me, do we have comprehensive song hints on or no?
I believe so. I believe we do have. Yes, we do. I just had to run through the settings in my brain. Yes, and I can barely read the hints on the commentary page, unfortunately. But Momo in chat is saying dead Nehru's wisdom, so I'm assuming that means that entire trial had no useful items.
Very interesting. So, like I said, optimal until it's not. Waterfall Cave, pretty dead for us there, which is a little sad. Jim, however, making his way through Eldin. Now, the interesting thing about Eldin is that there are 5 checks scattered about the upper region, where we dropped in initially, that require the digging mitts. So, oftentimes, it's kind of you're going to weigh if you want to go straight into Eldin. That is a Tringle. That's Din's power. I missed the hint on Din's power.
It didn't say anything was required. It said something was possibly required. Oh, so Jim is going to get his first Tringle up here. If anybody's unfamiliar, that is one of our required items. That is a tight corner, Jim. My goodness. That is one of our required items to complete the seed. That's one of our go mode items. It doesn't unlock any checks, but we need all 3 of them, and there are, in fact, only 3 in the seed. So that's a really strong thing to know where they all are. It's going to shorten your casino at the end, though I don't think that really affects much at the moment, because that's a pretty obvious location. Jasnix is going to find that pretty much immediately. What is the origin of calling it a Tringle? I'm so sorry, that's my fault.
Pippi decided it was funny.
No, somebody in my chat did. I can't take credit for it. Somebody in my chat used to say triangle every time I found a Triforce piece, and one time I believe mistyped it as Tringle, and we thought it was funny.
Ooh, Jim missing a Boko there.
That was overall nice pretty clean,
Pretty clean for not having Goddess Sword yet. As I was mentioning earlier with the digging mitts, you also really kind of want them for here, because Jim did have a ping deeper in Magma Turf, Tim, but could not... Tim in the shop.
Jasnix, buy Tim. It's 50
Please,
rupees.
Jazz.
Buy
Please.
Tim or you would lose. I'm sorry.
Anyway, so it is kind of a gamble if you want to go into those areas where you're pretty much going to have to warp out if you don't get magma mitts, or digging mitts, apologies, along the way. Jim, not really. So we found Spiral Charge and the Whip along the way. Jim now getting to the sky.
Yeah, so Jasnix's start is going to have a lot more information. That Jim is going to have to catch up on, but Jim did get a decent amount of items. I think really the only thing that might be a little bit in Jim's favor is the fact that, as we just saw on Jim's screen that Jasnix saw earlier, we do have a sky path, and that does mean that Jim can access almost all of the sky checks, so he is almost certainly going to find that sky path immediately that Jasnix is going to have to go back and double dip for. But, ooh, Jasnix got an item? Maybe something to use... Oh!
It is a bottle. I was about to say there's a bottle on Beetle, so Jasnix could do Oriel, but that means that if that sky path is Oriel, Jasnix might not have to go back for it. We will just have to see how things play out here. Got a sword check, always hype. We love multi-item checks. Jim doesn't get the funny bug.
Aw, darn it. But that's Bellows?
That's going to be our sky path, almost certainly.
Our sky path to G1? It
to G1.
was
Interesting.
Sky to G1, not LMF.
Not
That's
Sky to
still very good.
Moldarak.
That's still a really good path to have. True. Since our other path was Eldin to Moldarak, that might be Eldin for Spiral Charge to Moldarak. So Jasnix might be the first one to see our Sky to G1, which at this point, what could it be? It might be Mitts or Water Dragon Scale.
It could be either of those. I think that it has to be one of those two, because we started with a beetle.
Yeah. It which does mean that something has to be something that's required has to be on a very specific check in Skyview, which logically requires both Mitts and Water Dragon Scale. But we can get it as long as we just get Mitts. So we're kind of hoping that bottle is going to lead to Mitts, or lead to something that leads to Mitts. Jim doing the movement as if he has a bottle, which he does not have.
Very
Jim,
much confused me for a second. However, if the required item that is in Sky is Digging Mitts, then Jasnix might have a little bit of a leg up if he can just grab those and then go into Eldin to go get that Spiral Charge. So we would just have to see.
Yeah, overall, hey, we're really early in the seed. So,
okay, so it is a Digging Mitts.
So it's pretty much got to be Mitts or something that leads to Mitts. And Jasnix is doing early Zelda's Closet. This is a really interesting decision, honestly, with the fact that he has all of Eldin.
Yeah. Fascinating.
But okay. That's a really cute little trick.
I wonder if he'll get Oriel after warping back, because he does have to leave Eldin in the first place.
Yeah.
Okay, Jasnix. So Jasnix has very much set himself up for success right now, because Bombs is also very nice going into Eldin.
I mean, for navigation, bombs aren't too helpful from this situation. It would be much more helpful if we had a different starting statue, but that's going to be huge once we get access to Earth Temple.
That is logically a lot
out
of
of logic kind.
That's huge.
Also, yeah, if we get access to Lineru, that's really big for Jasnix. That's a really, really lucky find on... And hey, sometimes those weird out-of-logic checks.
You just gotta take the swings. Sometimes. If you are confident that you can do it quickly, it might save you time in the long run. It might always be a red rupee for me, but, you know, I'm glad that some people get value out of a very cool trick.
This is, as we were saying earlier, this is game 2, and game 1 was taken by Jasnix, and game 0 was not something that counted officially, but Jasnix would have won.
Game 0 was taken by Jasnix's capture card.
Oh, that's true. Thank you. All right, let's see. Another bottle. Okay.
It might be on
So
Pero.
our Sky path then...
Well, no, Pero's... Interesting.
Yeah, our Sky path then has to be Bellows for Girahim 1. So that would mean that somehow our Mitts are Bellows locked.
This is kind of fascinating. So this... Ooh. This is kind of a tangled seed then. That means that we need to get Lineru access before we can get Mitts, which has
not
to be
necessarily.
somewhere.
Not necessarily.
Well, that is fair.
We could also be looking at, like, our last seed, Stone of Trials. That's not useful. We could also be looking for our claw shots to be able to get our item in Bird's Nest, or Bonkies underwater. Or we could be looking for, like, last seed Mogma Mitts to get into Boko Base to do item on Cliff. Which is awful, but that is a Bellows lock check, and there are the claw shots that it's item on Bird's Nest. Okay.
So, fascinating start. Jasnix has suddenly snapped himself right back into logic. early claw shots is pretty fascinating in this seed, honestly. This is looking like it's going to be a really quick sky view as well.
Yeah, so the only thing we're missing from a really quick sky view is we're really missing a sword. So let's hope we're not sword starved here. I didn't see what check that was, but the item was
Fledge is a pouch.
Okay.
So Fledge's crystals is a pouch. Jasnix not going for item in Bird's Nest.
Jasnix doesn't have bellows.
Oh, Jasnix doesn't have bellows. I'm looking at Jim's personal tracker, not Jasnix's tracker.
Yep, Jim's the one with bellows because Jasnix does not have spiral charge. Yeah, so this will be interesting because Jim is probably also now realizing that bellows have to be his sky path, but Jim also does now have water dragon scale, so while Jasnix is going through Eldin and doing a lot of what Jim already did, Jim can go get potentially Shed Chest, which was our claw shots, which does then immediately put bombs into logic as well.
Yeah, Jim does have a bit more of Skyloft to clean up that Jasnix has already done, but it is looking like it's going to be a little bit of an early game lead for Jim. But again, this is like the first 15 minutes. Things can change so quickly for everybody.
Yeah, no, we definitely do not have anyone but pulling too far ahead here. Interesting, Jasnix opening up the path on the way back on that one. I've never seen somebody do that before.
I have never seen somebody turn around before doing that leap.
Yeah, me neither.
I was about to call that out. That was a fascinating thing.
Our Barons, the bot is having some issues right now, apparently. But the Barons, I believe, were Village, Summit, and what was the third one?
Village, Summit, Caves.
Caves! Very standard.
A cave!
Very, very standard.
Sorry, that was a specific reference for a specific person.
Jim by Tim. Jim by Tim.
Jim by Tim. Jim by Tim.
I'm gonna be really sad.
None of our racers are gonna get Tim. Pippi's gonna be sad. She's gonna stop commentating.
No, they have to
be up here alone.
They have to buy Tim eventually. As was pointed out in chat, they have to check 1,000 most likely, unless they hit like early go mode.
It is a strong have to, but yes, they probably will eventually buy Tim. More than likely.
That was another bottle on third 100 as well, so see, this is what you get for not buying Tim. Jim's on his way to Shed Chest.
Jim is going to be getting those claw shots, which means that he will most likely, if I had to guess, do the item in Bird's Nest, and then hopefully he will go to Zelda's closet and grab those bombs.
Yeah, we hope that Jim doesn't delay Zelda's closet too much. It's a pretty awkward check to go back for if you don't have other checks in the area. And with Fledge, Hinted Dedge, we don't have that one. So there's a possibility he's just gonna put it off until he gets Harp, which would potentially be really bad for him. Let's hope he remembers.
Yeah, there's a lot of prediction. At the end of the day, it's pretty hard to tell what a racer's going to do. But with patterns, I say that it's 60-40. 60% he'll skip it, 40% he might go back for it.
I'll say Jim's an unpredictable lad. No idea. But Jim is about to get what we assume is our digging mitts. Or something that leads to digging mitts. We believe in you, Jim. I'm so surprised that claw shot target made it.
That you know what?
That looked dicey.
That's pure skill.
All right, let's see what we got.
And
that's the Emerald Tablet. We forgot we needed the Emerald Tablet. Commentators are dumb.
Hey, folks, can I talk to you over here for a second? We don't gotta. So your commentators may be a pair of very dumb idiots sometimes who forget
big stinky doo-doo heads.
to be able to get to the dungeon in the first place, you do have to be able to physically enter the dungeon. So, yeah, we have our access to Farron.
Big Dumb Idiot by Tom Cardi starts playing. Almost said Cardi B.
By Cardi B, Tom Cardi B. It's just Tom Cardi with a very large butt. Right, Jim is going to get this useless song now.
Yep. Again, useless song, valuable information. I like how both of our runners routed Skyloft. Jim's routing was a little bit luckier in terms of logic. Jasnix, of course, did have that massive stroke of luck in his out of logic check really paying off, which we'll see what that affects later on. But both of our runners had very, very clean routing through getting through Skyloft. Jim has a little bit of an edge getting into Farron first. However,
Does
again,
not have those bombs, so he's not going to be able to get upper bombable if it pings. He will be able to peak lower bombable rock, because you can do that pretty. If he wants to, you can do that pretty easily with a beetle. Yeah.
But he does have access to a lot of checks here. The bombs might not bite him in the butt too fast. But he has a beetle, which is typically the big thing that you want before going to Farron. You can access a vast majority of the checks as long as you have a beetle. And he also does have pretty much everything he needs, except for potentially those digging mitts to get into G1. However, really clean decision, in my opinion, that he seems to be going to Lake Floria first, which makes a lot of sense because he is still looking for a sword. Because while we can beat the boss to Skyview, which is the only thing that path hints point you towards, we cannot actually finish the dungeon because we do not have the ability to strike the crest until he has 2 swords. So, assumedly both of our runners will be pretty delayed on trying to actually rush their dungeon until they find that sword. Our Baron locations were Caves, Village, and Summit. Or was it mine?
It was mine, not Caves.
It was mine.
I
blame
get
Pride
those
on that
mixed up
one.
all the time. Yeah, that's me.
Featherblade is correct. The commentators are not.
The commentators are never correct. Why are you listening to us? Why did they let us here? This is a mistake on everybody's part.
Dude, why do people keep trusting me with microphones?
I don't know, man. It should also be said that Farron in general is pretty quick to peak a lot of items. So even if you show up without a beetle, if you really want a gamba that you don't need the beetle, you can verify that pretty quickly in most scenarios. Jim also does have claw shots, which means that he's going to get a very quick peek on the item on Cliff outside of Lake Floria, and also is going to get access to Great Tree much faster than trying to climb it from the inside with Gust Bellows.
Yes.
So he'll be able to pretty much full clear Farron, I feel.
Except for those bomb-locked ones.
Yep.
And one of them is the harp. Oh my goodness. Okay, so Jim better not be holding out an item from Colin at the same time as Zelda's Closet, because that's not gonna work out, friend.
It's not gonna happen. Yeah.
Is not gonna do it. Oh, that is a Water Dragon Scale locked ping as well.
That's also a ping on upper bombable. So Jasnix immediately, that early decision to do early Zelda's Closet, paying off dividends.
That early Zelda's Closet and that is another Tringle. My goodness. Got all of these important items, but no swords. Boopy doopy. Hopefully, actually, I think that might weirdly pay off okay for Jim if he like really tries to do everything else before entering the dungeon because he doesn't have a sword. It might push him further towards Zelda's Closet, which would be good for him. Jim just coming up here to have a shorter beetle flight.
Jim grabbing. What is that?
That's
that is
bow.
a bow.
That's
okay,
pretty
that's
good.
not bad. It's not going to unlock a sword.
Oh.
So Jim is probably going to find that sword on top of Great Tree and head for Skyview. So...
Not gonna get the Harper bombs real quick.
Listen, folks, you gotta cross your fingers that Jim suddenly gets a stroke of inspiration of, I should probably go to Zelda's class.
Yeah, Jim is also now going towards Sealed Grounds, which I don't believe Jasnix has done yet, which is interesting because Jasnix can get more checks there because Jim does not have Harp. But now that Jasnix does have another sword, he is turning around and running away. I'm confused by that decision, actually.
He pinged Deep Woods, and it looks like he's going back into Deep Woods.
I think he forgot that he needed to go do the dungeon.
Maybe.
That seems like he was like, oh, I don't need to be here. I'm gonna skip the hint because... Oh, he's trying to do Extending Blow. Oh, no Extending Blow.
I believed. Okay, entering the temple, we do have an item here.
Caves Key. That's not necessarily required, but...
It's not nothing.
It might be required, so it's good to have.
We have nearly all of our B-Wheel items. All of our B-Wheel items, if you combine both of our racers. So, Lanayru Sansi does have a lot of items in it. So that could be a direction that Jim goes once he gets Lanayru access. We'll have to see where that Amber Tablet lays.
Oh, that's true. We could also get a starring statue in Sansi. I forgot about that. It might be required for that reason as well. But yeah, Jim's probably going to go find his sword and then follow Jasnix into... Jasnix is getting the statue and leaving. Interesting choice.
Yes, he's probably headed to Sealed Grounds.
I'm not sure what he's delaying for. He might be delaying to hold out for Mitts.
Possibly. He also has not marked the sword on his personal tracker. So
well, we know he knows he has the sword. He did use it. So he has Skyward Strike. Unclear of what he is delaying for. And yeah, Jasnix, unfortunately, is not a big fan of using his personal tracker, so we can't quite use it to diagnose his internal mental state like we can.
Mitts and Trial. We apparently had a hint that Mitts were in the Skyloft trial. So Harp was in Lower Bombable Rock, Momo. So that's kind of a rough pick for Jim if you go with his general routing.
A little bit of a rough situation. Now, this is interesting because while this is bad for Jim, it might not punish him too roughly because we are not guaranteed that mitts are actually required. And it looks like Jim is going to rush through. If the dig spot in Skyview is a small key, then Jim's good. He can get out of logic, skip that small key, perfect. If it is not the boss key, he's orphaning a check. And that's unideal.
Not good, but he can move
it could be okay. If it's the boss key, Jim is in a bit of a sticky situation. That doesn't look great for him, but it's okay. He talked to Gorko.
And you know what? That makes Jim the real winner. Friendship.
No, it doesn't. He didn't get Tim.
Well, Tim is winner plus. That makes you the true winner. It's like the real ending and the true ending of a game.
Jasnix just had a little bit of an oopsie doopsie on the crate there. That happens to all of us.
That's often. Never gonna knock somebody for that.
Yeah, I do that literally all the time, and you do get a bit desensitized to the trials being terrifying after a while of speedrunning with trials and stuff.
Yeah, you would be very surprised if you've played this randomizer enough, just kind of how safe the trials are. I don't think that I felt pressed in a trial since like my second seed in the randomizer in total. Once you know what you're doing,
I will
it's pretty
say it gets
fine.
a little bit spooky. If you are doing one of those things where you wind up being like inside one of the Watcher's hitboxes, but you are safe. Generally speaking. Jim also is gonna have a slightly slower clear of Skyview, but not like a terribly slow clear. There's just a couple of things that you could do faster with bombs, but he has claw shots. And Water Dragon Scale are really the things that are going to speed up this dungeon. Water Dragon Scale allows you to access Skyview 2 instead of Skyview 1. Jasnix got his own bow. And Skyview 2 can be very, very helpful because it is missing a couple of little things that you would normally have to do. So both of our both of our runners are going to see Skyview 2 today. And Claw Shots obviously lets you skip quite a bit by just claw shotting up to things. I don't know how Jim skipped to that spider.
He's just a god gamer. It also should be said that Jim just got the Horned Colossus beetle there.
Yes.
Means that he is going to be able to turn that in at any time for both a check and a half-off coupon at Beetle's shop. So if that 1,000 rupee...
Half price Tim!
Yes,
Half
we can
price
get Tim for 25 rupees. But if we wanted to actually use it smart, we would buy Tim and then get the 1,000 rupee for half off.
Okay, question for people who could read the trial hint that said mitts. Were they hard required or were they not? Were they required or were they possibly required?
They were required. Okay.
Okay. That could mean a lot of things. That could mean bad things for Jim. It could mean a lot of things. Not making any predictions yet. But it has the potentiality.
Cannot be said enough. We're 30 minutes into this game. We've still got plenty of game to go.
Oh, yeah, we do.
It's still anyone's game. Even if Jim does seem to be in a bit more of an unfortunate spot right now, he could always pull it back.
Also, both of these runners are very, very skilled at what they do. Oh, that's boss key. Okay.
That's boss key.
That's good for Jim. That his routing is going to work out a little bit. He doesn't have to double tread the dungeon. But both these runners are really, really skilled, as you could probably tell by the fact that they are in winners finals together. But they're both very, very good at what they do. And I do not think that anything we've seen so far spells particular doom for either of our runners. Jim got shoved in a corner by a fish. Just need to call that one out.
Jim's really getting bullied by the fish today.
Yeah.
It's really not
the fish don't
bad.
like Jim. Everybody knows the famous disagreements between fish and gymnasts.
Yeah. Classic rivalry goes back hundreds of years. We do have a ping on 3 eyes here. Now, what I feel Jim is probably hoping for here is anything but a small key. If there is no small key in here, then that means that most likely the small key is in the dig spot, and Jim can get past the
He still also does have 2 beetle lock checks to find, so he's not out of the woods yet if this isn't a small key. He's got 2 beetle lock checks and item behind bars that he hasn't seen yet, but yes, he does not want to see a small key here. If he can deduce that the small key is in that dig spot, hold on. That's gratitude crystals. Okay.
That is gratitude crystals. Okay, that's skippable.
That is skippable. That's not oh, there's our small key. That's probably not going to be hard required. It technically could be, but also that is extremely skippable in that, Jim, you forgot to shoot the crystal. In that you can get an extra 5 loose if you really wanted to. That's not catastrophic to miss under any circumstances. However,
Jim does not know that.
Yes, and that also probably does not tell us why mitts are required, because there's a very low chance that the seed thinks that that's required. It's most likely a possibly required item. So we're still looking for why mitts are hard required.
I'm gonna take a wild swing here and say probably an Eldon.
Probably. Possibly there were
ping
two pings in Voco Base.
In Magma Turf as well.
Yeah, that's 3 pinging checks. A wallet, okay.
Wallet.
Jim winning at capitalism. Very nice.
I hope that everybody paid their taxes on time. I'm sorry if you're hearing it right now. It is too late.
That is true if you're in the US. No idea about other places.
We here at the Skyward Sword Randomizer community do not encourage you to not pay your taxes. We are telling you that it's too late if you didn't, though.
Sincerely, the SSIRS.
The SSIRS.
My favorite joke I've written all year.
You really did like that one.
Uh-huh.
That one really tickled you.
I had way too much fun writing fake tax stuff. Hi, this joke brought to you by the person who organized a lot of the tax dailies. Anyway, play Skyward Sword Randomizer. We have fun. We organize an annual race for tax day.
Yeah. Back to the race at hand, however.
Yes.
Jim does have the H. He is going to be able to head right into the boss room here. I don't believe, he just pinged, and neither of our chests here are pinging. So he's going to snipe a couple of Bocos by Craig. And then he is going to head right on into G1. G1, a boss that I really love. Like, I think that G1, if I can nerd out about boss design for a second, G1 is just like the perfect boss for this game because it informs you about his character, his personality informs the mechanics of the boss fight, and it also is a hard check of have you been paying attention to the game, teaching you to use the motion controls so far. Because
I'm sorry, can we talk about the race real quick? Because Jasnix is doing something interesting. We can go back to nerding about G1 when Jasnix is fighting G1. But Jasnix was able to deduce that behind Three Eyes was his second small key, and has opted seemingly to do the bit warp, which is a really interesting play. First of all, because I don't think that I don't know if that's faster than doing Three Eyes. It might be a little bit faster, but also, does he know that he has the hook beetle and can do? Does he know how to do the hook beetle strat?
I do not know if Jasnix knows how to, but he might have just made the choice that this would be faster for him. It is not a terribly slow strat to begin with.
This is an interesting choice. It is a little bit slow because he did have to make the decision to backtrack to the beginning of the dungeon. What he just did was a bit warp, and you have to be saved in the first half of Skyview for this to happen, because you need to have it so that some of the assets in the back half of the dungeon are not loaded in order to do that. So he had to backtrack to the beginning of the dungeon and then die, which wasn't too bad because he had bombs, and then go do the actual bit warp. And then he does have to go through this room anyway because he needs to reload while in the back half of the dungeon to make sure that the rest of the assets do load. He's just now on the other side of the gate. So interesting play. I think the hook beetle bomb strat probably would have been a bit faster, but if you're not super confident with your setup for it, then like definitely do what you're confident with. You know, don't worry about it. Taking 8 tries to do the hook beetle bomb carry is way slower than doing a strat you're comfortable with.
Yep. And
okay,
Jasnix
now H, and you can talk about Jasnix doing one. Thank you.
Jasnix making great time here. Hot on Jim's heels. But yes, G1, fantastic boss design, because first, he doesn't even bother deigning with pulling out a weapon on you. He just has his fingers, and he's just laconically, like, blocking your strikes. So it's, like, both a gameplay thing of, well, you gotta realize what he's doing, but also, it shows that he does not take you seriously as a protagonist. And then you get a couple of hits in on him, and then he pulls out a weapon, but he mostly guards with it. So it shows that he is he's not taking you seriously, but he is a cautious and planning individual. It's just incredible boss design, fantastic ludonarrative design, which I feel like a massive dickhead whenever I say ludonarrative. But like incredible beginning to end, and Jasnix doing a great showing of it here. Pretty clean so far. G1 can definitely bully you if you let him get away from you. But overall, if you know what he likes to do and where in the arena he likes to do it, you can manipulate him pretty well.
Okay, so shout out on Jim's side to Jim, one of the Skyward Sword HD rando devs. And in HDR, oh my god, that is such a mean
rope.
beetle. He didn't
Oh
lower
my
the
goodness.
rope all the way.
Oh,
my
wow.
goodness. That's time loss. That is absolutely not Jim's fault. Beetle's rope is just coded poorly. Anyway, but one of our Skyward Sword Randomizer HD devs, knowing where all of the loose random rupees are that you can collect with Gust Bellows and Slingshot, probably because those are all checks in HDR, and deciding, you know what, I don't want to have 595 rupees, I want to have 600 rupees, and getting a quick 5 rupees out of a lamp.
If y'all have never done HD Randomizer, by the way, first of all, I do recommend it. It's a different feel to SD Randomizer. Second of all, I recommend you do exactly one hidden... Nice. You do exactly one hidden item shuffled seed, and then never do it again, because it is miserable. There's so many John the Intern just, like, put an item somewhere that there just happened to be a circle.
Also, while we were talking about G1, Jim did get that hint that Jasnix is about to have, which is the lower bombable hint. That check, because it's not pingable, and most people don't know you can peek it, is a hinted check. So Jim does know where his harp is, so hopefully that means he's not going to hold off on item from Colin. He is getting a loose gratitude crystal here on Beetle's ship.
Fascinating.
Neat. Jim won because he bought Tim first.
That's true. He did win the actual
this.
the moral race. However, we do have a real race.
Beetle is giving you money.
Oh, that's really...
Beetle's like, hey, here, would you like this coupon and also my wallet?
Here's a coupon, and here's $300, which is exactly the amount that this item at my shop costs. What a wonderful coincidence.
It seems that Jasnix did not do upper bombable yet. I missed that. I thought I just missed what the item was. But
I also thought that I had missed it.
It is another wallet!
Another wallet. So we are kind of swimming in cash now. That kind of points to a late game Beetle. But Beetle hasn't really had terribly much so far.
We had a possibly required wallet hinted later in the seed, so that means that there has to be something that's wallet locked, but it could be the
Jim's going
1,000. Jim's going for bombs! Thank you, Jim!
Jim is fine. He's doing it. We're rectifying our routing. It's all good.
But that could mean that we are looking for some of those gratitude crystals that was on the 1,000 rupee check. Jim has gotten his bombs. We're now evened out quite a bit. Both of our runners have completed one dungeon. Jasnix has a bit of an edge because he has those required digging mitts and an extra beetle, but he's about to go do a bunch of checks that Jim already did, and Jim just knows where his harp is, so he can catch up really, really fast.
Yeah,
so they've evened out a lot right now.
I'd say that this is neck and neck right now. Like, we'll have to see once Jasnix clears out Floria where things lay, but I'd say that they're almost, like, at the exact same spot.
Yeah, Jasnix it maybe has a tiny, tiny edge, because, Jasnix is going to have a bit of a rough time. It's quite annoying to not be able to take damage in Floria with these folks. Now
He's
going for the heart container.
I saw that one
really
coming.
funny. Smart move. Minimize your time loss. All right, Jim going for our bomb locked checks. Thank you very much, Jim. Yeah, so they're pretty neck and neck at the moment. I would say that Jasnix maybe has a slight lead because he does already have those mitts, which we do take required hints seriously most of the time in Skyward Sword. However, there are some things that the game thinks are required that aren't actually required. However, considering that we're kind of running low on checks we haven't seen yet, we don't have the Lanayru tablet, I'm starting to be scared that our Lanayru tablet is mitts locked.
I was about to say, I venture a guess that one of those 5 digging checks in Elden, or even maybe one of those, that pinging check in the back of Magma Turf, might just be our Lanayru tablet.
Mitts are in the Skyloft trial. They are hinted required.
Yes,
both of our runners do have access to the Skyloft trial at this moment, though.
Yeah, the reward for Skyloft trial was Quick Beetle, which probably not required if I had to venture.
No, it's Hook Beetle.
It's Hook Beetle?
Yeah.
Oh, that's
Jim
right.
doesn't have Hook Beetle, so that could be required. Far less chance of it being required because we do have bombs, but it could be required. Quick Beetle is really almost never required. I think it's never required at all in these settings, but could make a few things a little bit easier. Jasnix getting his second bow. But
sees that
yeah,
George thinking is dead.
Things we are currently looking for that could be locked by those mitts are the Lanayru tablet, as well as the Earth Temple key pieces, because all of those are things that are hard required and cannot be skipped. In actuality, the Earth Temple key pieces can be skipped, but because that kind of negates a setting in the randomizer, as a community, Skyward Sword randomizer does not allow that trick to be performed in races or tournaments. So we will not be seeing that today, and our runners will be getting their Earth Temple key pieces. If they don't get their Earth Temple key pieces, I have some questions for them on behalf of the Skyward Sword randomizer staff, but don't worry. They'll get them.
Yep. Jasnix is finishing up those checks that Jim did earlier. Now, okay, walking
he gets
Temple
one
of
extra
Harp is
check.
20 rupees.
Yeah, that one extra check Jim did not get earlier, but we now know it was not important.
Yeah,
and
so
Jasnix
I would venture to say, if we're trying to make a direct comparison, Jasnix is roughly half a trial ahead. Which is not nothing, but it's also much closer than I would have anticipated at this juncture.
Yeah, he's not very far ahead at all. This is very, very close so far. And again, these runners are both really, really good at what they do. So that lead could easily be swapped the other way by one rogue decision or one gamble paying off. So Jim being a little bit more careful than Jasnix was about this stupid box. God, you can do that in 4, and that scares me every time. But yeah, just very small differences at this point are probably gonna make or break that lead. We're gonna see what is in all these dig spot locked, or these digging mitts locked spots, and also a hint. Let's get our hint.
That 50 is a red, so we don't need all, like a great number of those crystal packs.
Yeah.
Because I believe that these settings cap at 50, so...
Yes, they do indeed.
40 is going to be our upper limit here, and both of our runners... speaking of the devil, both of our runners are pretty close to 40 already. They're both at 26.
Yeah.
So... I mean, that could mean any number of things, frankly.
Jim also getting his second bow and doing the funny dive. Link thinks that there's water below him at that moment. There is not. That is ground.
Right, nothing
Very
much in these
silly.
dig spots so far.
Yeah.
I'm really starting to
Oh,
get
that's a big time loss for Jim.
So,
That was unlucky.
yeah, we have to see now if Jim decides to finish out the trial or if he's just going to bail
Yeah.
with the mitts.
Jim might get his mitts and bail instead of taking the time loss, which would be a big gamble, but since we do know that it's the beetle, that might not be a huge loss. It does seem, though, that he's not taking the gamble, which does not surprise me, considering Jim's playstyle. Like, between these two runners, I think, like, who would I think to make a gamble more often would 100% be Jasnix.
Yeah.
Jim is a very by-the-book player. He does not do a lot of gambling, and usually when he does, he immediately afterwards goes, I knew better.
Yeah. Jim tends to take things, I wouldn't say so much safe, as I think that by the book is an excellent way to describe it. But also, Jim, what he, doesn't get in these wild swings, he very much makes up for in execution. This man is just kind of good at video games, except for Mario Party. Anyway,
We're not talking about Mario Party right now. Yeah, no, Jim is an excellent technician. Jasnix is an excellent technician as well. But Jim tends to be a very, like, clean, by-the-book player. He tends to play to full clear. That was the sacred bow. Lol, lol, lol. Jasnix pulling out his sacred bow to show off. Thank you, Jasnix.
Very pretty bow, Jasnix. Thank you.
The other thing about Jim's play here is this is probably a very comfortable play for him of continuing to full clear the trial, because it can be a little bit weird if you are used to doing Skyward Sword as a speed run to then have to alter how you are used to do. That was swaggy.
That was sketchy.
Be able to alter how you're used to doing things like trials that tend to be very, like, consistent in the regular game in order to accommodate for things like Dusk Relic Shuffle. And so doing the trial again without having to go through and do all of the, like, the actual relic checks is gonna be pretty quick muscle memory for Jim. That, like, he knows he can, like, be a pretty effective technician on that one.
Yep.
Jasnix also did not find anything on the dig spots. Let's see
He's
what it is
coming up on this
here.
final check. This is going to be linear tablet, guaranteed. Watch this. Baby rattle.
It's dead.
That's kind of a tablet, if you think about it.
Yeah. If you think about it, if you tilt your head, squint, and hold a picture of the Bahamas in front of your face.
Yeah, listen, Birdie and Tuca, they put their kids in front of that screen. They gave them an iPad. That's a tablet. It works. Don't question.
Yep,
Anyway.
totally. All right, so that means that the digging mitts are not required for that tablet.
Fascinating.
So we're about to watch Jim go waste a bunch of time and get the sacred bow, which is never actually a waste of time. That, and with Gorge Dig Spot hinted dead, that's really pointing towards it being Magma Mitts locked again.
Yeah, where's our
Or it could be
logic
Vent
setting?
Chest. Vent Chest could
Could
be.
be Vent Chest.
We're hoping for Vent Chest. I'm gonna not try to curse the runners today. We're gonna hope for Vent Chest.
Not cursing the Jeremy runners. So I think that we're looking at it's either Beetle or Betro is holding.
Oh, was Boko Base Path
Something to
Scaldera?
forward.
Thank you, because I can't read.
I see.
That would explain the mitts. Jasnix bought Tim.
Let's go.
Important. I also did forget, Jasnix still is not making headway Jim has not made, because Jim did do more of shop than Jasnix did. So
That is correct.
that's a really cute tiny strat on Jim's part, is to use your extra time while you're waiting for the bomb to roll down, because you have to wait for that anyway, to check to make sure that your other bomb throw worked. That's cute. I like it. I'm stealing that.
Okay, so Jasnix does have. I was gonna ask if he had the beetle, but there's no reason to not go here if you don't have the beetle anyway. So yeah,
You
Jasnix
could
is
get
retreading.
one loose gratitude crystal that he is not getting.
This
Jim
has
is
been-
ahead by one loose gratitude crystal, y'all.
That is true. This has been a really fascinating seed to me because our racers have basically just been swapping back and forth what content they're tackling at any given
Yeah.
moment.
They have very
and
different
keeping
routing.
pace with each other. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, this has been very interesting. For a second there. Oh, are we dead?
Our comms are dead. Rip.
I have been
Are we back?
killed. I have
Hey,
been
we're back.
vanquished. Oh, so just kidding. I haven't.
Don't
been
worry,
vanquished.
folks. You missed nothing.
I was talking about niche Boko out of bounds timing.
Pippi was talking about boob. Yes.
Excuse me, it's Boob.
Boob. Sorry. Anyway.
Okay, we have Jim is definitely making good headway here. But we're about to see a new check from Jasnix that we haven't seen either of our runners get yet, which is our item from Colin. Not the fastest check.
Yep. How's the seed going? The seed is going fascinatingly. Both of our runners have taken very different routes and are honestly neck and neck right now. Jasnix has a little bit of an edge because he did get that crystal pack in Skyview that Jim skipped over. So he's a little closer to finding out if Bat 40 has anything for us.
He also is about to get this check.
See if this does anything.
It
No, it does not.
It was just a waste of time, but at least we know that now. No circles for Jim. Jim loses. Sorry.
No, but he did get Tim, so like he's a
okay. Listen, Jim's health would have been perfect if he was planning to do a death warp there. As he is not doing a death warp. Please don't die.
Please open your sailcloth, I beg of you.
If he didn't, I will laugh.
It would have been very funny. Fun little optimization that Jim and Jazz did there. They both have been through Magma Turf before, so they know that the chests at the bottom and on the ledge there are dead. So instead of going in normally, where you enter the zone and you start skydiving, if you jump slash into it, then you start falling like normal. It saves a good bit of time if you just need to get to the bottom as quick as possible. Jasnix getting loose crystals, so it looks like he is going for Bat 40.
Yep. Let's see what Jim does, because how many... Jim's tracker says he's at 31, so let's see if he tries to get 9 loose, or if he has some other plans up his sleeve. But yeah, this is a very close game so far. Jim is just behind by a crystal pack and a couple of miscellaneous checks. And once again, like, literally anything could turn that tide. A single tiny gamble, a dumb enemy vying for employee of the seed. Jim also landing in... village, considering that village is dead, this kind of looks like he is rushing Betro.
He might just be going for Betro 30, yeah.
Yeah.
Jasnix opting to open the Betro door instead of doing this strat that Jim is doing. Interesting, because he doesn't have to go back to Betro.
So, if it is nighttime,
there's our Amber
Bat
tablet.
40? That was Bat 40.
Ooh.
Jim is... that's really bad for Jim. Jim is...
So remember how we were saying one check can make a difference?
Yeah, yep. Oh, that's a big one. But yeah, if you already have it as nighttime, it is faster to open up the door than to do the trick. And because he was collecting loose crystals, it was nighttime already. So, yes, I agree with Jasnix's routing here. It also, you make up that time loss by of sleeping tonight usually by not having to do the trick twice. So yeah, if you are planning on doing a revisit, it is pretty much always worth it to sleep tonight. But sleeping tonight feels bad and makes my brain sad, so we're not gonna do that when I'm playing because I'm a bad player. Anyway, Jasnix, that's huge for Jasnix. That means Jim has to do a double dip of Betrow and has to go get some gratitude crystals. And reminder, he is down 5, so he's going to have to hunt for some. He can get 9 loose right now, but he's probably going to go do some checks that we as viewers know are dead because he doesn't know they're dead, and he's probably hoping that there's something.
As somebody called out earlier, we do have an entrance into Sansi and Lanayru. So
Yes.
We're going to be able to get a good number of checks here right off the bat. We have a couple of pings in Pirate Stronghold. It is deep in Pirate Stronghold, it looks like. That was right next to the door. So Jasnix is going to be running around a maze for a little while. It's not so much a maze as it is tight tunnels.
Also, yes, to answer the question, chat, the zipper rocks, as of about a year ago, I believe, are... Oh, Jasnix, oh no. But the zipper rocks, as of about a year ago, are no longer... their previous problem had been that they set your speed to a set value, not an increased percentage of your normal travel speed, and that set value was actually slower than the increased Loftwing speed that we use in Randomizer. So now that they have been increased to increase you to a set value that is proportional in percentage, so you go real zippy. Go wee!
Yep, they have now increased them to send you at a terrifyingly fast speed. Frankly,
I like chaining zipper rocks. That's fire shield.
That's fire shields, which is useless, I believe.
That's
Dead
also
Summit, no fire sanctuary.
No Boko Summit.
Boko Summit, you're right. What is Boko Summit hot? I don't think Boko Summit. Oh wait.
Yes, it is.
I might be dumb.
Inside
Yes,
Boko
it is.
Summit is hot. Yeah, so that could be required. Unclear. Jim is going on a wild goose chase. I'm not sure where he's going. He's probably going to do a song from Impa. So Summit is dead. But Boko Base is a different area than Summit, and Boko Summit is the colloquial name for there are 4 checks that are inside of the top of Boko Base. They do not ping from the outside, also known as inside Boko Base. And those are not considered part of Summit, even though they are kind of. It's weird.
it's
They're
funky,
counted as part of Boko Base. So those are not necessarily dead.
Jasnix getting bullied by electric keys right now.
Jasnix also pulling out our favorite niche functionality for the whip. You do not get electrocuted if you kill things with a whip.
Yeah, whip is just really satisfying to use against keys. This one might fly down and bother him. Yeah, no, he bailed.
Me too, man. It happens.
$20 from Grandma.
He didn't bring her soup.
He didn't bring her soup. This is another grandma who doesn't require transactions of soup. Just music.
I have 2 grandmas.
Everybody has 2 grandmas, Pippi. Every human has 2 grandmothers. I don't. Okay.
Not every human.
Pippi, we're gonna.
Just most.
We're gonna have to have a talk after this.
Yeah.
I don't know how you've gotten this far in life, but brace
You
yourself.
can end the sentence there.
I don't know how you've gotten this far in life. The end.
Oh, that's a sword.
That's another sword on one of our. So that is technically requires Quick Beetle, but there is plenty of lineups that you can do to just get your. You can effectively sneak your beetle in right underneath the trigger that makes it die. No better way to.
Yeah. So there is a like death box, a kill plane. that doesn't actually immediately kill your beetle, but puts it into the red blinky mode. And by making sure you enter that kill plane at the last possible time, you can have enough time to go get those items out of logic. Jim is going back for that dig spot, which is like, it hurts
Jim is
to
desperate,
see.
yeah.
But also, yeah, this is really punishing him. But that is gratitude crystal, so hopefully that will push him towards getting that 40. Which is also gonna feel bad, but, you know, it happens. And once again, while Jim is a little bit behind, the pendulum could swing back the other way.
Yeah, there's nothing for certain yet. Jasnix could hit a different set of unfortunate logic that would lock him out of something else.
Yeah.
Just kind of how these matches go. So even though it looks like Jim has this major setback, nothing's written in stone yet. It's still anyone's game.
And nothing's written in tablet.
True.
This was a terrible joke, thank you.
I wasn't going to call it out, but you know.
I will call myself on my nonsense. Oh, that's the seed satchel. That's not helpful. Jim, it does seem, is coming back to Skyloft, so hopefully he is on his way to go do Bat 40, only a little bit behind schedule. But in the meantime, we are still looking for, assuming that the Boko base path is legitimate, we are looking for one of our pairs of mitts still. That's another sword.
Another sword, okay.
Jim's doing Beatrice. Jim.
Oh, Jim.
You found
Jim,
more
no.
checks.
This might give him the final gratitude crystal pack, if I had to guess. I don't know how much Jim has left. In logic.
Loose gratitude crystals are in logic. It's okay. It seems he is doing loose anyway. That's good. He's probably also gonna do Beatrice. So if Beatrice is something important, this could be really good for him.
It very potentially could.
Jazz
also
has a bit of a healthy lead. Jim had, oh my god, that's another sword. Jim had a couple of unfortunate setbacks, and Jasnix had an extremely good piece of early luck of getting that bomb bag, and then made the great decision to go and get those digging mitts while he could, and that really gave him a bit of a lead. However, once again, this is still anybody's game.
All that I'm hearing is that early Zelda's Closet is always the play, and you should do it no matter what.
What I'm hearing...
Jasnix did not get the hint earlier that this is dead, maybe?
I think he forgot.
I know that he got it, but he, forgot that it was dead.
He forgot. Jim is also short by a couple swords, but all of those were in some pretty obvious and accessible spots. They were just all in a line in Lanayru. So as soon as he gets to Lanayru, he will catch up on swords. And he got that 40. He is going to go turn those in and get to Lanayru, and then he is going to be behind by one sand sea.
Yep. So basically, we're looking at if Beatrice holds a ET key piece, or if it is a Tringle, then Jim might have a solid leg up in that department, because a lot of racers like to put off Beatrice. It's a tedious check at best.
It sure is. I don't love Beatrice, but I do love all sanity, so I deal with it. But Pride, I need you to say
called out for
EP.
it is ET-keepy.
Unless you're EP, and then it's the EP-keepy.
I mean, sometimes you get to the end of a seed and it is the EP-keepy.
Wasn't Mines also hinted Baron?
Mines is Baron, yes.
Jasnix.
So Jasnix might... So remember, folks, when we were saying that pretty much anything can happen at this point to even up the score...
Jasnix!
If Jasnix goes all the way through Mines, that would go quite a ways.
Okay, good. The rest of it was not pinging, but that thanks for giving Jim a little bit of a handicap.
So even though the item was pinging, the item led to no items, which means that it is still a dead check. Even
As
though it
of the most recent versions of the randomizer, that is a functionality that the randomizer has, that Baron blockers that lead to no items, with the exception of, I believe, beetles and projectiles in general, are not Baron blockers anymore. So that region was hinted Baron, but it contained an item that led to a Baron area. So, oopsies. Jim getting his sword. Excellent. We love it.
Shoutouts to Jade Miniboo for, I don't know if she made that setup for getting this without Quick Beetle, but has also contributed several setups to the community at large.
They were the one to find out that it is not a distance problem for any beetle to reach these, because the distance that the beetle can go depends on the size of the room. Jade Maybu was the one who figured out that it was a kill plane problem and not a distance issue, which led to the development of all of these setups. It has come quite a ways after that discovery. Jim is now on his track to try to catch up with Jasnix. He's got a long way to go, but Jasnix is helping him out by going and doing some dead regions.
Yeah,
also, Jasnix, that was such pretty movement. My
very
goodness.
good swag. And again, Jim, just a very incredible player. Jasnix is as well. But Jim's good at okay, well, I take that back. Jim did just bonk into 2 separate walls. But
I really liked it that you, on my end, you said, Jim, a very incredible player, mid-bonk. Incredible. Glorious. A Jasnix acquired fruit.
But Jasnix going through Lanayru Desert proper here. Always very funny to try to refer to this area, because you would think that the whole region is Lanayru Desert, but it is specifically this zone is Lanayru Desert. But this has a lot of checks in it, and Jasnix has all of the items required to get all of them. So
he's basically got a systematic clear. That's kind of why Jim double checking his pings. Very nice. That's kind of why I've always referred to them as like Lanayru proper, because it's the big area, it's the big hub area, you know, the big one that has all the stuff in it. But yeah, Jasnix, the big items that you usually want for this area are claw shots and bombs. Obviously, our runners have every B-wheel item except for the bug net, so they are going to have a quick tread through the
claw
area.
shots, bombs, and the hook beetle to get the items to the back of fire node. Really irritating.
Oh, are they useful? We're gonna find out. Jasnix kind of calling card as a player is amazingly unnecessary brake sliding to save some time.
Unbuffered slate brake slides are a thing to see, but
so swaggy. If y'all don't know, so this is an area where normally you see a lot of brake sliding. What Jasnix is doing right now, which is anytime where you see Link do that weird, like, he's doing the backwalk animation, but he's moving forwards. That's a brake slide. And we usually use them buffered in Quicksand, which I don't believe there's any way to do them unbuffered in Quicksand, which is why you saw him pulling up the home menu there. But if you're really good at the game and really good at hitting precise control stick positions mid-roll, you can get some in there off of a roll and fling Link forward a little bit. And Jasnix likes to do those all the time. It's very impressive.
Yeah.
Mid-roll meaning those are the... Ooh.
That's Magma Mitts.
That's a good thing that Jim did not skip the hook beetle.
And just this letter. So...
I'm leaving you.
John, I can't do this anymore. But very interesting to me that neither of our runners elected to do skippers. I didn't see if they pinged it or not.
They both did ping it. I believe it was dead.
Okay. Well, skippers pinging dead saves some time.
Yes, I know. I didn't notice whether or not Jasnix had pinged it, but I just saw Jim ping it. Yeah, they skip. They sure do skip.
If I had to guess here, Jazz probably is going to be heading into LMF.
Probably, yeah. So this could also come down to LMF routing. That might be an opportunity for Jim to save some of the time that has lost from that Amber tablet. LMF can be an interesting dungeon to route. LMF and ET can both be pretty interesting dungeons, actually, in terms of, like, just... they're both pretty tangled knots of what do you want to do in what order, and LMF can be pretty mean about it. So, based on where pings are, it'll be really interesting to see if these runners pick different routes. Also, that was our final Tringle on Jasnix's side at Secret Passageway. So that means that we do have all of our Go Mode items except for one Itikipi. We are essentially in no mode minus one Itikipi because Jasnix has the Magma Mitts to get the one we know about in Boko Base, and has enough swords. There's one more seed, or one more sword in the seed somewhere, but we don't need it, and has all of the Tringles. Yes, I'm sorry, it's an Earth Temple key piece.
Yes. Again, Earth Temple key piece. Quick beetle for Jasnix there. Yep. Very nice Queedle.
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 Yeah, fun fact, Itikipi comes from writing co-op documentation while really tired.
Deliriously tired, one might say.
Yal refuses to call the Quick Beetle the Queedle. That's okay, Yal. Some people call the Tough Beetle the Teetle. Can it be a turtle?
I've never heard Teetle. I'm gonna be so very honest with you.
I have heard Teetle. I've heard Queedle more than anything else, but I have also on occasion heard people say either Heedle for Hook Beetle.
I've heard Heedle and Queedle.
Or Teetle for Tough Beetle. Yeah, exactly, David. Heedle, Queedle, Teetle.
It's the worst trio of triplets I've ever heard of.
You know when people theme name their kids?
This is the Huey, Dewey, and Louie of Skyward Sword.
This is why they shouldn't let me and Pride on comms together.
Why do y'all... You keep falling for this, is all that I'm saying. This is on y'all.
Listen, the second that I put my name down as being available for comms, y'all should have just gone, no! Anyway.
Just like body blocked me from my computer.
Oh no, I was saying body blocked me, but that's fine too.
Can we get some new comms? Yeah, can we get some new comms in here?
Don't worry. By current plans, if we go to game 3, you will get new commentators, and by that I mean I think half new commentators.
But Jasnix leaving for
going to get our
headed to Boko Base. It looks like. Yeah,
going to get our ET Keepy. And that's interesting because I'm not sure what could speed up LMF at this point.
Yeah, I don't know what the plan is here. I don't know what the play is from Jazz.
It might be in the hopes of go moding LMF.
Could be. That would make it a little faster.
It's really interesting. I know we were talking about yesterday that there's some interesting differences between how like people approach things as primarily a Skyward Sword rando player or primarily a Wind Waker rando player, and this is definitely a play that screams Wind Waker randomizer to me.
I would agree.
That Wind
very
Waker
much so.
randomizer, it really pays off to be able to go mode your dungeons. Skyward Sword, it doesn't usually make a huge difference. For LMF specifically, it could make a bit of a difference if you are able to skip specifically the boss key chest, which we don't actually know if it's pinging, I believe, because we haven't seen
We haven't been in at
anybody
all.
enter LMF. But you can ping that one from the distance, and it could blow up in your face real big if you just last location doing your dungeon because you want to go mode it, which in Skyward Sword just often is not worth it, since we still need the boss key anyway, because there's always the chance that the boss key is vanilla, and you just gotta do that anyway.
Yeah.
Jasnix also, this is an interesting route through Boko base. This is not what I would have expected, but it is very functional.
It works, yes.
Yeah.
I would definitely say as well that, like, in terms of why there is such a functional difference between wanting to go mode your dungeons in Skyward Sword, I think that there's one key skip, like boss key skip, for Tantalus, and it's like it takes time as well. So in Wind
Pride,
Waker,
I'm very
there's
disappointed,
a ton
and you chat noticed
Go on.
that Jasnix hit Mighty Mode before you did.
I was in the middle of a sentence. I was gonna cut myself off.
Gotta cut yourself off faster!
Mighty mode.
Mighty
but yeah,
Mode!
in Wind Waker, there are very easy boss key skips in every single dungeon, as far as I can remember. So being able to just beeline it straight to the boss is much easier in Wind Waker than it is in Skyward Sword, where you're still gonna have to check at least some of your dungeon.
Yeah, and in Skyward Sword, the boss key, the boss skip in Sandship doesn't even skip the boss key, it just skips the boss itself. So you still have to go find the key, but then you could skip the boss fight, which if you have the file set up for it already, saves like, I don't know, a minute and a half, 2 minutes. But if you have to go make the file set up for it, that's gonna start eating into your time that you're saving pretty fast. So it's not even always worth it. In Skyward Sword, we do have to do a lot more of the dungeons in a lot more close to the intended method than in Wind Waker Randomizer, despite the fact that we do have Jim, that it's a corner.
Jim, please.
Sorry.
I vouched for you, my guy. I said that you were a good player.
Jim is a good player. He just also did a bonk. But yeah, there is some interesting differences in terms of routing. I also always think it's interesting in terms of, like, I play a lot of co-op for Skyward Sword Randomizer. I love co-op. Co-op is great. And that, like, I've heard people talk about co-op routing for Wind Waker Randomizer. It's like, oh yeah, of course you put the faster player on dungeons. Because not only does Wind Waker Randomizer score their co-ops differently than Skyward Sword Randomizer does, but also just the fact that, like, you can route things so differently in dungeons makes a lot of difference. Whereas, like, if I am routing a co-op, no, you put the slower player on dungeons because you put the slower player on doing things that are, like, more required so that they can skip more elsewhere because you want to get that really close finish time.
So a note from the chat that
Yes.
If the keys are in LMF, Jim might have a lead here because Boko Base was nothing. Boko Base was entirely dead.
What was on Platts?
Great question.
Does anybody remember what was on Platts? Platts might have been our path.
But yeah,
This is evened out a lot suddenly.
Yeah, we
Bug
don't
metal?
need another sword.
Are we sure that there was a Boko base path?
Our players
I didn't see the hint.
I didn't see a Boko base hint at all.
Yeah, no.
Boko base to Scaldera.
Okay, so it had Ballad in it.
Oh,
Ballad was there.
Okay.
Okay, so
that
there
could
is
mean either Gorko or Thunderhead.
Yeah. There was salad. Okay. We got healthy. But yeah, oh, that is another bottle. How many bottles does Jim
I
have right
believe
now?
that's 3 bottles for Jim.
thought it was
But
more
yeah,
than
this could even out for Jim pretty well if it turns out that it is valid to Thunderhead, because Jim can open Thunderhead pretty easily using Back in Time.
Well, but he doesn't know that.
That is
so
true.
he is
does not know
going
that.
to go to Boko Base. Jim getting a lay of the land here. That is a lot of pings in LMF. I think that this kind of evens out either way. The only thing that could be really good for Jim is if one of the keys is here, because I didn't see where in Boko Base that ballad was, but if one of the keys is here and he knows that the other one is going to be in Boko Base, he can start, or like led to by Boko Base, he can start go moding and skipping checks, and then once like he gets to Thunderhead, he'll hit go, but it depends on how much Jasnix has cleared in the meantime, and also that is all reliant on there being a key here, which we do not know. This is definitely, Jasnix definitely has a lead, but this routing divergence definitely is interesting. There's our ET Keepy.
There's one key.
It's not both.
Interesting.
It is not both, so we are still looking for one. We're gonna see where it is.
Yeah, Jasnix does not have as much of a lead as I think might be expected.
Yeah, he has... he lost a little bit of his lead doing some checks that were hinted dead. Remember to mark down your hints. I forget them all the time. The other thing that might be kind of good for Jim in this situation is, once again, Jim has been doing speed runs of Skyward Sword for a ridiculous amount of time, and he tends to do really well in situations where he can just fall back on, like, you know, LMF routing from 8 years ago. And considering how many pings there were in LMF, it didn't look like Bit or anything was gonna really speed up the dungeon. This is just a how well can you do a technical clear of LMF. So that might help him make up a little bit of the time, but Jasnix does still have a little bit of a lead here.
Yeah, I very much agree
Blob.
with that assessment. Bye, Jelly Blob.
I was actually really lucky by Jelly Blob, otherwise I would have blocked the box.
Yep.
Shoutouts to that Jelly Blob.
Shoutouts to that Jelly Blob.
Yeah, also, good to ping that last chest there early, because that means that Jim can skip that chest. I have definitely gone up and opened that chest because I didn't realize that it was the chest behind it that was pinging.
Yeah, that feels like a pretty universal experience. But yeah, Jim working his way through LMF pretty nicely here. So I did not see. Can you ping boss key from here? I always forget what the zones are.
You can from here.
Okay. I didn't
boss
see a boss
key is pinging.
It is pinging. Okay, so
Yeah.
that's rough.
That could be a kind of a maker. That was so swaggy, Jim. That could be kind of a make or break if BK is vanilla, or is our last ET Keepy. That would be good for Jim and bad for Jasnix, because Jasnix is probably going to try to last location that. Jim also, in the interesting scenario that he does not have the LMF small key, and unfortunately that one check that was pinging in East Side is hard locked by the LMF small key. The other two checks in East Side you can get without Jim, the wrong way. Without the LMF small key, but that one that was pinging, you really can't skip. So he does have to possibly re-enter to get whatever is in there. And we're really hoping that's not the boss key or the ET Keepy. Both of those would be bad.
Yeah. So there are several avenues for Jim to make up a lot of time here, but they are rapidly closing. So get your votes in now.
Don't worry, you're eepy, I'm keepy. Actually, I'm peepy. But don't worry about it. Okay, the LMF small key was here. Now the question is, BK or go back to the beginning?
I feel like you
seems like back to the beginning.
Oh, back to the beginning.
Maybe. Yeah,
What?
Jim is death warping back.
I just got the image there of Link going, "Oh, I can make it this time." Well, I didn't that time, but I can make it this time. Oh, well, this time. Dang it. Oh,
this is a trick. Somebody found it during a live event in Australia. This is a real story. Jasnix having a bit of a rough time so far in LMF. LMF, this quicksand, it seems, has not been very kind to him, and some of those enemies seem to be on him like glue. But he's making up for it anyway. He's persisting.
Yeah. LMF can be pretty rough on players if it really decides to. Jim doing a bomb strat there that not only blows up that box, but also kills both of those mini Molderax.
Did you know that they're called Arakas?
I did not need to know that.
Okay.
But I do now.
Turning off fun facts now.
Oh, you can keep going with fun facts, just not Arakas.
Just not Arakas?
So you're telling me that the thing in the sand area is called Arakas?
No, not Arrakis, like
Arrakis.
Dune. Araka. They
Arakas,
are an Araka.
They're the Kwisatz Haderach.
Yeah, they're the Kwisatz Haderach.
Kwisatz Haderakas. There we are.
There we go. We got there.
We found the third joke of the stupidest joke that I've ever told, baby.
Alright, let's see if this pays off for Jim. What we got? No! Unfortunate. That means Vanilla BK, probably? Oofy doofy. Oofy doofy.
Yeah.
Alright, okay. That means
Again.
everybody gonna do BK. Unless there was a ping in the next room and I missed it. The first room, like, it can eat the pings for the second room. So, it might... there's pings. Maybe. You missed the last 30 minutes. Jim is still, unfortunately, trying to make up some time after last locationing Bat 40. Jasnix has found one ET key piece, one of our Earth Temple key pieces. Ooh,
there it is.
That's good for Jim. We're gonna see if this is the boss key. If this is the boss key, that's best case scenario for Jim to make up time.
I feel like even if this is the boss key, though, Jim might still go for... Ooh.
Yeah. So that means pretty much a mandatory full clear of... what did the Arakas do to you, Jim? Mandatory full clear of LMF, because we do need that boss key chest. However, again, that is kind of good for Jim. I don't know if it'll be enough to catch up to Jazz, but... we'll find out. We'll see what choice Jasnix makes. Because Jasnix is about to, in this room, open up the small key that Jim was using just now to get those checks. And we're going to see if he makes the decision Jim did, where you go back to the beginning, or if he continues on gambling that the BK chest is vanilla, which it is. If he knew that he didn't actually need Boko Base and he just needed Thunderhead, he probably could win this. But unfortunately, I don't think he knows that. He cannot clairvoyant.
Yeah, it did strike me earlier thinking about this that, as we said, Jim is a very conventional player. He plays things by the book. He just executes very well. So I don't think that he's going to make the swing of, I might as well open up Thunderhead instead of going into Boko Base. Because Boko Base pinged, and you can't ping Thunderhead from the outside. But if he does happen to make that choice, it could tie things up here. But I don't honestly see that happening. It's a potential future.
Yeah, especially, I would say that these settings do have... it seems Jasnix is making the opposite choice. So we're gonna see both of our runners heading off towards LMF BK right now. Just like, oh, oofies. That trick sucks. Fun fact.
Sucks. Really difficult trick.
It's a mean one. Yeah, so you're trying to place a bomb, and have it blow up and activate. Oh, Jasnix opting for shameful self-beetling.
There we go.
Yep. This does fall under the category of tricks that Jim does in speedruns and thus is annoyingly proficient at. But yeah, there's two ways to do that trick. The way that Jim did and Jasnix was trying to do, where you set up a bomb that will hit the minecart but not Link when you hop onto this collision that you're not supposed to be able to stand on. And the other way is to shamefully self-beetle the minecart. But yeah, this is wildly synced up. Like, literally
Very cool.
3 seconds apart in the minecart riding. Pretty incredible for, like, you know, you get some good racers. You get some good racers.
You know what? On occasion, you get some good racers.
Sometimes.
Winners Final, who would have thought that you would find them in Winners Finals?
Okay, here's the thing. I love commentating for really, like, competent, like, well-practiced runners who have a lot of conventional wisdom to offer. You see a lot of tricks taken from speedruns. You see a lot of tricks that, like, you missed. Jim, throw the bomb first. There you go. You just see a lot of stuff. I also love commentating for newer players because you see a lot of unconventional wisdom. You see a lot of, I figured out how to do this and nobody taught me how to do this and I just I did it and it worked. And you're like, whoa, that's kind of fast and creative actually. I love that. So there's definitely joy in both.
And sometimes you just want to see something utterly baffling of, I don't know what we're doing here, but we are doing it with gusto.
Yep. I mean, sometimes you see that happen in very practiced racers as well. Jim did that yesterday.
Yep. Fun fact about the combo in this room, for anybody who is familiar with Zelda combo numbers, in here it is 132, which is an inverse reference to Ocarina of Time's 23 is number 1.
23 is number 1? Oh, Jim, you missed.
Yeah, so you can hit these switches behind these statues through the wall with bombs. It's a little, like, if you hit the crown in the middle there, that crown decoration, it'll be just outside of the radius, so it's a little finicky, but
yeah.
Usually it's not too much of a problem.
You saw also Jasnix running into the spikes to damage down a little bit so that he could more easily death warp because it seems both of our racers have opted for the death warp. And Jim playing it even closer with his death warp health. That is a cute extra way to take some damage. I love it. But yeah, essentially they both saved... Jasnix missed the void. They both saved in the other room. And they're going to both death warp back pretty darn synced. They were on the game over screen together for a second. Also, there seems to be a tech issue. I'm not sure what it is.
We have no clue what the tech issue is, but you know what, folks? We're going to talk through it anyway.
We're
If
gonna
we need to
vibe.
describe what's going on screen, we will.
I'm
So
gonna
Jim,
describe for you gameplay in painful detail.
hold on, we can do this golf. So Gymnast seems to be playing some form of Zelda game. Fascinating play. They insert the sideways cactus.
But they
Sideways
have
cactus.
synced
Everyone.
up. They have synced up the fallen over cacti.
Streams froze
really?
on their side. Yes, we are both inserting the fallen over cactus at the same time. It's quite fascinating. Jasnix entering in a little faster.
Jasnix literally like half an animation ahead of Gymnast. And I don't know why we're talking about gymnasts when this is golf commentary, but oh my goodness, that is a giant scorpion on the golf green.
He's a man of many talents. Now, currently, Jasnix seems to be in the lead just by a little bit, but remember that Jasnix does need to re-enter LMF, which means that he's going to, once this dungeon deposits him outside of it, unlike most other dungeons, it puts you in an entirely different place. So
This is true.
Jasnix is going to have to find his way out of Lanayru, warp his way right back down into the front of LMF, and then take care of the front half of LMF in a different manner.
While we were discussing that, we did murder 2 giant scorpions. We are now waiting for the longest cutscene in the game to finish itself. Fun fact, if you're playing this at home, you can put your Wiimote down on a table and it will vibrate your entire table.
It may vibrate
you.
your entire house, in fact. It vibrates for a very long time.
If you are looking for a sick beat to do some vibing to, consider placing your Wiimote on a table during the end of LMF cutscene.
I don't know how much of a beat that makes, but my commentator makes a point of some fashion. Now,
Well,
we
now
are
we're moving into the next room where we're going to have to do a mandatory minecart ride for both runners. We're going to see how our runners decide to speed up the minecart. Please note that all speeding up of minecarts are completely memes. They are memes. You cannot speed up the minecart, but this is an important personality test, and it seems that Jasnix has opted for nothing.
Well, we are going to see it. Our viewers are not, as we are still trying to figure out our technical issue. So Jasnix is simply sitting placidly in his cart. Meanwhile, Gymnast seems to be charging skyward strikes and attacking the air, for he is very mad at the god Aeolus, I had to think for a second, for sending Odysseus on a strange and perilous path on his way home, and playing with his feelings. How dare you? My boy just wanted to get back home to his wife and son. This has been
Yes.
talk of Epic the Musical, a thing that Pippi has listened to once.
I did. It was in a car. But yes, also of note, for those at home who could not see, Jim skipped the Moldarak heart container, which is a good sign on Jim's side that he does realize that he is in no mode, that he knows that the only thing that could still be of any help to him is in Boko Base. So he has left, he is leaving the region entirely. He's on his way to Eldon right now to go follow his path, pick up his last Earth Temple key piece, and then go play golf inside Earth Temple. Now, this could come down to, because Jasnix is re-entering Lanayru mining facility to go full clear that small key-locked room, this could in fact come down to something as small as who routes Earth Temple in a more lucky fashion. So Jasnix does have a little bit of a lead still, having that other Earth Temple key piece already, but this is still possibly anyone's game here, folks. It's gonna come down to the putt.
Also, folks, this just in, I'm being informed that we do have video back, so I no longer have to have my nose to my pop filter. Am I going to keep doing it? Maybe. We'll see how the vibe evolves.
Thank you for tuning in to Skyward Golf Commentary. I've been Pippi in a top hat, and I will no longer be Pippi in a top hat, as I will run away to avoid further shaming my family.
I have been the King's Pride, and I will no longer be the King's Pride, because you can just call me Pride. A lot of people call me Kings. It's weird, but fine. One person
Some
called me
people call him
TKP.
TKP.
I knew him for like 2 years. It was weird. Nobody calls me TKP. That's odd. King's Pride is pretty normal as well. That one's a little odd, but understandable if you've never met me or heard anybody refer to me by the last word in my name. I understand that I did this to myself, so I can't get mad.
All right, so it seems that Jim is opting for the most difficult routing through Boko Base, which Jasnix did not opt for earlier. This is the Boko Base bomb boost. Let's see how it goes. Excellent. First try. We love to see it. And then we are going to see the trick that Jasnix... Oh, that bomb was rude. We're going to see the trick that Jasnix did do earlier, which cannot at all be understated how weird and finicky it is. The Boko Base whip skip. Which also just is much faster and saves a lot of time, which is why Jim is doing it, regardless of the fact that he is whip very, very clean. First try as well. If you fail that, you dump yourself directly into the lava. Do not pass go. Do not collect 200 rupees. Jim making excellent time through Boko Base. Being that there weren't any pings in upper, I don't think. He is behind by a... Oh, no, there was a ping in upper. Oh, no. Yep, yeah, no, that's some time loss. Oofy doofies. Oofy doofy. It's at least the fast one, but that's going to be time that he's going to have to try to make up over Jasnix, and also Jasnix finding his last Earth Temple key piece and on his way. Jim, please shoot the Boko. Thank you, you were giving me Ajita. Jasnix on his way to Earth Temple. So that is no mode for Jasnix, except he does still need to route Earth Temple. So we're gonna see how that goes for him. There's our important ballad. Jim, where are you going?
It is. Jim's digging.
Jim?
I think that he went to the wrong... He should be able to just...
Jim?
Oh, he's trying to go to the hint stone and dug up the wrong thing. Or no.
No,
I guess
he
he's
just decided to go over.
Well,
okay.
Anyway,
did you know you can do that?
You can. That is true.
Yeah. Jasnix does have a pretty healthy lead at this point because Jim does not know that he's not going to find his Earth Temple key piece in Boko Base. He doesn't know he needs to go to Thunderhead for that yet. But still, this has been a really close race. At most, he's behind by like 3 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a pretty tight race. They've been holding hands and high-fiving a whole lot.
It's very, very cute. Very wholesome.
Very wholesome. Very demure.
Very demure. I would say also that I'm going to be interested to see if Jazz just does the speedrun strat here. If we see back in time for the first time in this seed.
Yeah, so there's a couple of options on routing Earth Temple. It depends on... Oh, hey, yeah, Jasnix does my routing for the beginning there. Oh, found another bottle! Heck yeah. But it does seem he is damaging down, maybe? So he's probably going to do the back in time routing. Very clean skip there on Jim's side.
Jasnix pinging, though he's in go... Oh, key.
He needs the boss key. Yeah,
I'm deep brain. I figured it out.
He absolutely needs the boss key. Yeah, Jasnix damaging down, that definitely looks like doing the back in time routing to me. So there's a back in time interaction that you can do that will... Oh! Yeah, no, that's back in time all the way.
Yep.
Yep, nope. Jasnix, this is your game to lose. This is your game to lose.
And this just really kind of goes to show you, it was the one decision of Jasnix to pick up loose crystals to get to bat 40 that really, like, did this seed in, frankly.
Yep. Yeah. Yep. That was, in fact, the best possible outcome for Jasnix, because pretty much you're always going to get that check before you go to do the rest of the dungeon. The debate would be you can go through the back in time way, or you can go through the vanilla way. The vanilla way would is like debatably maybe faster if you have to do but Jim, why were you getting the hint? You know where everything is. If you have to do the chest actor single Lizalfos, which was in fact pinging, but that being taken off of the option list there does mean that it's just faster to do back in time. There's no debate. Just run it.
Yep.
Jim does know he has the third Triforce because he was go-moding checks earlier. I think he just gave up tracking once he realized that he was in close to no mode.
That's a
also,
very
though,
Jim move.
It is. Very Jim core. But talking about this being Jasnix's race to lose at this point, Jasnix has everything he needs, and provided that this match goes well, there will not be a game 3, and by that I mean a game 4, and by that I mean a game 3.5, and by that I mean a game birthed by sleep.
Actually, this would be a game dream drop distance. That's not the correct one. Hold on.
Okay.
Sorry, a game remind. Thank you.
Okay, there we go. So that means Jasnix continues on, but reminder that this is winner's bracket. So Jim is not out of the tournament yet. He will be moved down to loser's bracket, where he will participate in loser's finals. And whoever finishes a loser's finals successfully, whoever wins in that one will be up against Jasnix in grand finals. So we could be back here again in a couple weeks doing
we could
grand
have the
with the
rematch of the
same
century.
exact
Yeah.
runners. Pride, I'm terrible at brackets. Do you happen to know who is our losers finalists? I believe it's Sledgen and Yal.
It is
right?
Sledgen and Your Average Link, yes.
Yes. D, by the way.
E, by the way.
They are a single Earth Temple apart. This is a pretty darn close race.
Yep.
But that means whoever wins between the best of 3 between Yal and Sledgen, which they are not doing what Jim and Jasnix did of doing all of them in one set of 2 days. They are doing them spread out. But whoever is triumphant in that will be moving on to face Jasnix in grands, and Jim missed.
I would like to point out that Jasnix did a incredibly swagalicious, unbuffered brake slide up the slope to Scaldera.
Yes,
Amazing.
he likes to do that
Thank
one.
you.
He does that one a lot. I've seen that one a few times. It's very good. Jasnix completing his final dungeon, but very clean. Scaldera was a little bit rude to him, but still managed to get a pretty quick Scaldera in there.
Yep. A fun fact for anybody who does not know: some of the bosses in this game are damage-based, and some are hit-based. And when you have a better sword, when you're not supposed to for the damage-based ones, it goes quick.
It also for Scaldera in particular, how that quick kill went so fast is Scaldera has different amounts of damage cycles for each sword, and both of our runners are very masterful in actually knowing how to optimize the damage cycles for the sword you have. That's kind of how you learn to do those fast ones, is that you know exactly how many slashes that you have to have before you need to hit him with a bomb again in order to skip his second phase, which gets tighter and tighter based on like what sword you have. As the swords do more and more damage, you can go faster and faster and faster. I really hope we do get to see Jim do Scaldera again. I hope that he gets to finish his final dungeon before Jasnix finishes Gauntlet, which he is on his way to right now. Not just because I want this match to be as close as possible, but also because I think that I really want to see if Jim can do the same thing he did on his Scaldera yesterday, which is like the swaggiest thing that you can do with Master Sword. I need to learn it, and I need more, like, research.
Yep, very agreed.
It's not the amount of time you have to wail on the boss, it's how much damage the boss is willing to take before he goes, okay, that's enough, and gives you more animations. So if he has taken less than a certain amount of damage, and you put down the bomb and hit him again, he will continue to be in that first phase. If he's taken more than that amount of damage, he's gonna do the Scaldera long legs and do the climb up, and it's gonna be really slow. That's what we mean by damage cycles. It's how much damage you are dealing, and it can be pretty finicky, especially with the higher tier swords, where you need to be careful not to deal too much. Because it's very easy when you have big scary sword.
Yeah, absolutely.
Jasnix now going into Horde, and good to note that neither of our runners today found True Master Sword, which is going to mean that Horde is going to be a little bit slower for Jasnix, and also a little bit scarier. So get ready for slashy, but very clean so far.
Jasnix running up here, there's going to be a group of 3 moblins that spawn, and I believe that he's setting himself up to be able to run up one of their shields and over the fence, doing what we call horde skip. So let's see if he gets that. I believe in him. He should definitely get it.
Yeah, no, his setup looks
good
great.
Position.
Beautiful.
And there we go.
He took that a little bit slow and careful, but no shame on that. It's much safer to take it slow and careful than to miss it. You get 1 shot on that, because after that the moblin is going to move out of position and it's not going to be an option anymore. And this, it's called Horde Skip. It only skips half of Horde, but that is an entire half of Horde. There's like a whole other section with a special Boko, and it takes forever. So very nice to get a nice clean Horde skip. Okay, let's see how Jim does on his damaging of Scaldera. Okay, seems interesting. We did a slash. That's the cool one. Okay, that's incredible.
Nice. Very good.
I'm told that the reason you can get away with doing that is because your sword is so long for Master Sword and TMS. What he did there was stun lock Scaldera by just doing a quick spin vertically to slash him out of the reel back animation, which incredible. Love it. That's so clean. I need to learn that.
Yeah.
Just stealing people's routing. Don't worry about it.
Now, Jasnix heading into Girahim 3. I ranted about Girahim 1 earlier. Girahim 3 also is pretty good, but the unfortunate part is that the character's been kind of established at this point, so it's more just reinforcement of that. A very good reveal, though, in like casual play. Like the, oh my god, he's just like Fi, it's fantastic. But Jasnix is going to try to do what we call purple hand skip, where he's going to be very aggressive here, bait out that roundhouse kick from Girahim, and then parry it with his shield to rebound him back towards the edge. Beautiful. Fantastic.
Yeah, that trick is actually really difficult, because if you slash too fast, he's gonna get too close to the edge to do the attack, and he's instantly gonna go into the purple hands animation, which is slow. But you want to kind of temper your slashes until he enters into the kick animation, and then as long as possible, you want to be doing really extra slashies to get him close to the edge before he smacks you in the face. And then you can parry him onto the edge. Super, really finicky trick, really clean execution. GG's Jasnix on that one. And because we have the Master Sword, and we do a ton of damage, we're gonna absolutely slice our way through Girahim 3 here, and go straight into Demise. Demise being our damage-based, or our hit-based final boss. So it doesn't matter what sword we have, just vibe and watch Demise go down.
Yep, and Demise is pretty well choreographed. If you know what you're doing with Demise, a very popular party trick is to do Demise blindfolded. And the only kind of variation is whether you want to do this part with a sword or with a shield or not. Jasnix doing a variation that I haven't seen, frankly, where he just clangs on the sword and then keeps going with the combo instead of baiting out the attack. But a very clean phase 1. Phase 2 is pretty easy baby game. There's just one little fake out, so Jasnix is going to knock Demise over here. He fakes out the death, and then he charges a Skyward Strike, stuns Demise with it as soon as he gets up, and then that is GG's for Jasnix. That was a 158-34.
We're gonna
Very
see.
good time.
Yeah, we're gonna see if Jim decides to finish out the seed or not, because he might not even actually notice that Jasnix has finished. But welcome in, Jasnix, in the meantime.
Welcome in, GG's.
Jim do Horde, we can ask you all of the questions. How do you feel?
I feel pretty good, actually. Like, I thought I played pretty well today, so...
I think that you should feel pretty good.
Yeah.
Very clean gameplay, very well done. I will let you know, as we said, Jim is in Horde right now. Oh, and Jim is in here
call.
right now.
Hello.
Y'all were welcome, Jim from the future. Y'all were incredibly close.
Yeah, you were high-fiving back and forth. It was very neat.
And you did not do the same route at all. It was an
Yes.
incredible match, I will say.
Yes. But Jim, Jasnix, any thoughts on how the seed went from your perspective?
I died in Skyloft Trial.
That was really
did
unfortunate.
happen, yes. Yeah, any other thoughts than dying in Skyloft Trial?
I guess I should have gambled early Thunderhead.
So, fun fact. So let's do a little bit of a post-mortem on this seed. Whereas Jazz, you kind of went to the sky first, Jim went straight, or no, other way around. Brain. It's been a long day.
No. So Jim went to the sky and immediately turned around and did Elden first, where Jasnix, you went to the sky, got your hints, and went to Skyloft, and that actually, Jim gave you the tiniest early lead just because you were able to do Spiral Charge. And then Jasnix, how do you feel about gambling early Zelda's Closet?
Oh, I love that play. I started doing that recently where I do like a backwards Skyloft route so I can end on early Zelda's Closet. And I think I remember earlier in the tournament, I won a race almost solely off that. I think I was playing Adri, and I got whipped from it, and I'm pretty sure Adri didn't get whipped by the time I had finished, but I got it maybe 5 minutes in.
Oh,
so
God.
I've been doing it in like every seed I possibly can at this point, and I was really sad when I got claw shots because I was really hoping it would make the restream interesting. I was like, oh man, I got a bomb bag, I'm gonna mess around with this, but I got claw shots like 5 minutes later. I was kind of upset. But
don't you worry, it did make the restream interesting.
It was also, we were joking on comms about how it would have been really bad if it takes a while to get the harp, because oh no, will Jim go back to do Zelda's Closet with claw shots now that so much more is open if he doesn't have the harp to do Colin's letter at the same time, since Fledge was hinted dead? And then you picked up the bomb-locked harp, and we were like...
Yeah, that was the first part in the seed where we were like, ooh, that's a rough thing for Jim. But then you recovered very quickly. that it's been a massive back and forth. The one thing, Jim, that I would say did like tank you, other than like dying into the Skyloft trial was unfortunate, but not that huge of a deal. Jazz went for loose crystals and did bat 40 first.
Yeah.
And I did not.
Yeah, it
and
was
Jazz-
honestly the big difference was those 5 gratitude crystals in Skyview. Jazz had mitts before going to Skyview, and
Right.
then only had to do a couple loose and did bat 40, and bat 40 got kind of last locations.
Yeah, that was rough.
It was unfortunate. Still,
Yeah.
though, early Thunderhead.
Still,
Early Thunderhead?
early Thunderhead.
Early
was-
Thunderhead would have made a huge difference.
Go on, Jess.
I was kind of like fantasizing during the seed about what if I did Skyloft Trial RBW for a lot of it, because at the beginning, like I kind of keep forgetting. Like I always tell myself like I should talk to the young customer in the sky or in the Lumpy Pumpkin. So if I want to do the RBW, I have it set up. I can just go save at Lumpy, and I always tell myself to do that, and then I always forget it, and then I always get upset with myself because I'm like, oh, I could have done it this seed. This could have been the seed, and I actually think it would have been good this seed because I would have got my mitts. I remember I did like a dip out of Farron to go get my mitts before Skyview.
Yeah.
So I actually think it would have saved me a little bit of time, but I was really annoyed though. I was like, oh, I don't want to like waste all my time going for it, but I really wish I did that. But
GG's to past Jim.
GG's past Jim. Less than a 5-minute difference on this seed is actually pretty amazing.
Yeah, can we call special attention to the fact that Jazz, you left Lanayru to go do Boko Base and Thunderhead, and then came back to do LMF, while Jim stayed in Lanayru, full cleared LMF in one go, and then had to go to Boko Base. But the amount of time it took to do like the like rest of the stuff was the amount of time you were offset by, including the time that like Jim had already done small Quayside and you had not. You were within seconds of each other for the entirety of Boss Key Room. You were sitting on the minecart together. You entered the LMF boss door together. You sat through cutscenes together. You were on the minecart leaving LMF together. It was incredible.
It was absolutely amazing. I was saying, but to the point of early Thunderhead Jim, as we were giving commentary, and I was like, okay, Jim's avenues for victory are closing, but if he decides on the way just, oh, I can go to Thunderhead, that would do it. And I was like, I don't see Jim doing that. That seems like a very wild swing for how meticulous you are. But I was hoping. I would lie if I was saying that I was hoping for it.
No, yeah. I mean, I like in my mind before getting Ballad, I was just like, oh no, yeah, the key piece is in Boko Base. Like, there's no other option clearly. So it didn't even cross my mind that it was like a thing I should do. I was actually hoping that it was on Beatrice and that Jasnix was gonna do Beatrice and then get sidetracked by having to do early Thunder, but not by doing Thunderhead.
Yeah.
But like would go to Thunderhead and it would be barren.
Yeah, no,
But,
that would
no.
be evil.
yeah,
Because you did set up for Beatrice.
Yeah, I think the flaw in your mindset there was I was never going to do Beatrice in a million years. I hate that chat.
I called out.
I'll
I was
never
like,
do Beatrice.
I said, I don't think that Jasnix is doing Beatrice, so if the final Tringle or one of our two at the time undiscovered key pieces was on Beatrice, I was like, Jim has a very real chance here. And then that did not come to fruition. My goodness, I've been talking for 2 hours. Fruition.
But yeah, any other final thoughts from either of you? Very, very close seed for the Horn Aura stamina.
I don't know when the last time I won a race against Jasnix is.
I think you beat me in all of the qualifiers. If I remember correctly, I think you placed higher than me in all of them.
I guess that makes sense.
Yeah, Jim, were you top seed? I don't remember.
Yeah.
Yeah, MC'd one. Okay, I don't remember the
Okay.
last time I won an actual tournament match
An
against
actual
Jazz.
tournament. Much to that point, then, we will be seeing Jim again. This is not the last that we'll be seeing of Jim, because he'll be moving into losers finals. And then, if you win that game, you'll get your chance to beat Jasnix in an actual tournament match
Come
for the
back
first
to
time in living
Grand.
memory. So
Uh,
look forward to that, and everybody catch those games because those will definitely be just as exciting as this one.
Yeah, Jim, you'll be up against either Yal or Sludgeon, and Jasnix, you get to vibe.
Yeah.
But
GG's all
yeah,
around.
if we have no more final thoughts, we're going to turn it over to our restreamers. I just want to say thank you all so much for having me. I have been the King's Pride. I have been joined on mic by Pippi in a top hat. And thank you so much for having us.
Yeah, and thank you so much to the trackers and who did an excellent job, and thank you so much to Trez for restreaming this and dealing with the technical difficulties in the middle and our golf commentary. Thank you.
Thank you all so much for watching. This was an eventful restream, to say the least. We got ASMR commentary, we got golf commentary, we got finally Jim and Jasnix bringing a race together that was not totally scuffed. I'm just so proud of everybody. But yeah, seriously, thanks for the great race. Thanks to all our volunteers, to Prior, to Pippi, to Lota Chiamaka, and to Feather, and to the audience, of course. I hope you all had a great time, and we'll be back with more SSR soon. Thank you all for watching. Have a good time. See you soon.
Bye.